Hallows evening, guys. What is good? I'm your host, Annika Chung. I'm here at the Haunted Ghost Walk Tour at the Black Creek Pioneer Village. I'm about to go in there for the 7:15 tour. I'm kind of excited, but at the same time terrified of the stories from employees that work there having some creepy paranormal experiences. I have an open mind when it comes to the paranormal, so let's check out the Haunted Walk at the Black Creek Pioneer Village. I'm definitely hyped. If y'all like what you see, let me know in the comments. Alright guys, see you in a bit.
In fact, we're standing just north of land that was once home to a Wendat village that dated all the way back to the 15th century. Now, when many European colonizers came here to North America, Treaty 13 was struck, and they were able to make this area their home as well. In fact, tonight you will see some of the buildings that were built by the first European settlers to work this land, specifically the Stong family. Now we're going to see both the first house they ever built here, as well as their second, more active house that they had on the property as well. Many members of the Stong family are actually still here to this day, buried in the cemetery that we will visit later tonight. Now, a lot of the stories you are going to hear tonight come from staff members who work here at Black Creek. And they've told us of their many, many eerie experiences in the village. Some actually saying that they refuse to work in specific areas or buildings because of the intense feeling they get of being watched. There's a lot of questions that arise to what causes a haunting. I know there are some because we always have at least one, but who's a skeptic here? Just raise your hand. Okay, great, we have a few. Yesterday we had like one, and I was like, I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of questions. So maybe tonight we can help convince you or just enjoy the history, whatever you want. But a lot of people believe that ghosts are tied to specific people, places, things. Some believe that they're actually just free to wander as they please. Here at Black Creek, it actually appears that a lot of these hauntings come from events that happened at these buildings' original locations. When those buildings made their trip to Black Creek, those spirits followed. When the staff members go home, lights go out, the sun goes down, the village does change. It becomes quite a bit different. And that we are going to get a chance to go inside.
Oh wow, this is pretty cool.
Right across from us over there, that is the first house. It was the first building to ever be built on this property by Daniel and Elizabeth Stong. They built that in the year 1816. Now, as they began to have their family and got up to about 8 kids, and they decided that maybe that size of house was not quite big enough for them all. And by the time second house had begun construction, they also had a grain barn, which is that lovely barn that's up on the hill over there, as well as a smokehouse and on the property. Things were actually going very well for this family. That is, until 1845, when tragedy struck their family. Their son Michael was killed in a gruesome hunting incident. After being severely injured, he was brought back to his second house, where he died in his bed on the second floor of the village. Since the village opened here in 1960, the staff here have said that they noticed a rather mischievous spirit inside second house, one that they have taken to call Michael, and one we are going to get to go inside and visit. Now keep in mind, this building is from the 1800s, 1834 to be exact, so please do be gentle with it. You will see there are chains cornering off certain rooms. We just won't go past those, and we'll also not touch or move any of the artifacts, as they are also from the 1800s. So as long as we're all good with that, we can head on inside. second house. I did mention that a lot of the stories you're going to hear tonight are from workers who are here at the village during the day. One afternoon, one of those workers was in this building close to closing time. They watched as all of the guests filed down that same staircase you just walked up and left out the front door. Did the rounds of the building and went to go and lock the door. When they reached for the handle, they heard the sound of footsteps coming from upstairs, from this very room. And they immediately called out, "Hello, it's closing time," but nobody responded. They climbed the stairs, looked in this room, looked everywhere on the second floor, and find no one. This isn't the only instance these footsteps have been heard. Another time, 2 employees were downstairs, and they both heard the same set of heavy footsteps coming upstairs. First employee came up, looked around, and again found nothing. The second one decided that she wanted to take a look for herself. So she climbed the stairs, walked into this room, and looked to find the chain just behind where you folks are standing there, violently swinging back and forth. She instantly called out, "Stop that, Michael!" And the chain went still. Caretakers who work in the building have also told us they've come in and found that chain violently swinging back and forth. They've also told us that they've come in the mornings and found the beds here with the sheets pulled back, rumpled, as if someone has been sleeping in them overnight. Now, there are several instances here at Second House that lead us to believe this ghost is quite fond of teenagers. Now, if this ghost is indeed Michael, it would make sense, as he was about 18 years old when he died. One particular instance happened when a group of teenage boys was touring the building with the guide. They finished up and were heading out the front door. When the guide reached to open it, it would not budge. Now, at the time, it was a very old door and it had an old-fashioned lock on it, one that you needed the big key to open. She looked and the bolt actually wasn't even drawn through the door. She pulled on it again and again, trying to get it to open, but it was as if something was on the other side of that door, holding it shut. Now, eventually, one of the boys said that he would climb out the window, go around, and try and open it from the other side. But as soon as those words left his mouth, the door let go. It swung open right in front of him. You're going to get a chance to take a look around the house, explore the rooms. I will say, please don't go past any of the chains, like I said before, or move any of the artifacts in the kitchen or anything downstairs. My only other request is don't go down or up this set of stairs behind me here. They are closed off to the public because they're rather steep and dangerous. And also some creepy noises come from them from time to time, so you probably just want to avoid them in general. You can use the same staircase that we came up to go back downstairs if you want to explore there. Happy exploring! Take a look at the pictures over here on the table. Those pictures are of Daniel and Elizabeth Stong.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you take a look at Daniel, you may notice he looks a little morbid. That's because he was most likely dead when that picture was taken.
Oh, this is much better now.
So in the Victorian era, they like to do what they call death portraits, which was after one of their loved ones died, they would prop them up in a lifelike position and take a picture of them.
Sometimes they actually position their family around them as well, or make jewelry from their hair. So I'm glad we abandoned some of those traditions. But yeah, you can see in the picture, his eyes are a little glazed over, he looks a little stiff, not very lifelike, that's for sure.
You make hell of a necklace with that hair.
What caused this Michael guy to die?
He was impaled by war. It's in case there's a fire, yeah.
Wow. This is pretty cool, man.
So this building behind me here is the halfway house. It was originally used by many stagecoach passengers who were traveling to or from the Toronto area as a sort of halfway point. Now, the man who built it was a man by the name of Alexander Thompson. And he ran this inn with his wife, Mary Ann. Just let that pass. We're not allowed to go inside this one, unfortunately, because there is a paranormal investigation going on.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're doing seances and things like that. So we're not allowed to go in tonight, but we will get to take a peek inside the window. Now, after Alexander died, there were some rumors that circulated. Rumors that he may have actually had a second wife the entire time he was with Mary Ann. It is because of these rumors, many people believe it is her who haunts Halfway House. Many of the staff who have worked here, there was a restaurant originally in the basement of the building. Many of those staff have told us of their strange experiences here. They would often turn off all the lights, the kitchen radio, everything for the night, lock the door, and go home. And come in the next morning, open the door, and hear the sound of music blasting through the building. The radio having turned itself on in the middle of the night. Now, early one morning, a worker came in for his shift. He walked through the front door. As he did, he noticed his co-worker walking up the staircase just to the right. Her long brown hair was cascading and down her back. She was wearing a blue-gray dress. He said good morning to her, but she did not reply and continued walking up those stairs. Put his stuff down, and then he went to go and check the schedule for the day. Found that his coworker was not on it for that day. He immediately ran upstairs and checked every single room, trying to find this woman, but it was completely empty. Others have seen this woman in a blue-gray dress walking up those stairs as well. Some have.
What do you think about that story? That's crazy. So apparently they were like, when they did the paranormal investigating, they actually got touched. That is possibility, man. Anything is possible. Definitely. And they still like, yeah. So that means that house is very active there. Like, man, my whole body is feeling like I have a whole bunch of goosebumps. Like, oh my goodness. Sensation. Ooh, this old creepy house.
Have told us that they witnessed some rather strange things. They describe them as orbs of light that will weave through the gravestones and hover over top of them from time to time. Some guests on our tours, in fact, last night, take photos of the cemetery and find those orbs of light in their photos. One of the security
cemetery guards even had a dog that full-on refused to step foot in that cemetery. Stand at the threshold, barking and whining, but never prayed. On 1 October, one of our guides was walking up to this area to unlock the door at night, and he noticed someone standing in the middle of the cemetery. A little boy who was dressed in old-fashioned clothing. They moved closer to get a better look at him. When they noticed him, he instantly ducked and hid behind one of the larger gravestones. He stayed there, watching to see if he would emerge. He did. It was as if he had completely disappeared. This little boy has been spotted many other times here at the village. Particularly, he is known to tag on to the end of tour groups, staying with them for 1 or 2 stops before eventually disappearing. Now, during the day, one time, one of the workers here was coming up to the church when they noticed their coworker giving a tour to a rather larger group. Very interested to see a little boy from that group who was playing peekaboo behind one of the guests' legs. They watched as he played his game again and again. But the woman who he was playing with did not seem to really even acknowledge that he was there. She was watching him, and in front of her eyes, the boy vanished. Gone, as if he had never been there at all. This is happening on our nighttime tours as well. On one occasion, we were leaving the building when one of our guides saw a little boy weaving through the Hallows. And then all of a sudden, he ducked behind one of them. It didn't take the guide long to realize that he did not have any children in his group that night. This little boy has been spotted inside some of the buildings here at the village as well. Particularly the next building we are going to visit tonight, known as the Manse. One day, one of the workers was inside that building when they noticed this little boy walk right through the front door, all the way to the back, and sit down on the bed. He went to go check on the boy, and found that he completely disappeared. All that he left behind was an imprint where he was sitting. It's very hard for us to know exactly who this boy is. Again, that cemetery is the final resting place for over 50 people who once called this area home. And unfortunately, several of those graves do belong to children. Among them is Robert Frank Atkinson, who died just shy of his 5th birthday, and may be the best contender for this particular. Many of the staff members who work here during the day have told us that some of them actually refuse to work in this building or step foot on the 2nd floor because they get the intense feeling of being watched. In fact, on one occasion, a volunteer's 3-year-old niece stood on the threshold and full-on refused to take another step inside. When her aunt asked her what was wrong, she said again and again, "A mean man." The building originally sat on Young Street in Richmond Hill and was built by the Richmond Hill Presbyterian Church as a home for the minister. The first minister to ever live in this building was a man by the name of William Jenkins. Jenkins was known to be quite a devoted man. In the later years of his life, he was very ill, and it kept him close to his home. Despite that, he actually gave sermons up until 2 weeks before he died. Some people say he never really left this building behind. Some of the staff members here have heard the sounds of books pulling themselves off the shelves in the minister's office. The sound of pages flipping as if someone is in there reading. To check, no one is there. Another staff member actually had a specific tradition. Every night before we would go home, we would open a Bible on the minister's desk to a specific passage. We would go home for the night, lock the door, come back the next morning, open the door, find that Bible turned to a completely different page.
So in 2021, one of our guides was bringing their group inside the building here when they noticed that the atmosphere in here was quite a bit heavier than usual. So they called out something along the lines of, "I get it, you're angry," when all of a sudden they felt a smack to the back of their head. And they whipped around to see who in their group had done it and found that they hadn't even entered the building behind them. This isn't the only instance of physical altercations to happen inside this building. Another occasion, people have been walking down the staircase that's just over here and felt hands grasp their shoulders and push. Others have looked up that same staircase and see the face of a man scowling down at them from the top. In fact, on one of our tours, one of the guests went over, looked up the staircase, and then slowly walked back over to the tour guide. He leaned over and whispered, "There's a man on the stairs, and he does not want us to leave." And boom, all of a sudden, a loud banging noise came from upstairs. So loud that it actually shook the building around them, and they were forced to leave. There is a frequent feeling of an angry, malevolent man inside this building. It's been felt most strongly on the second floor, so much so that it has actually been closed off to the public. It has made itself known down here, however. Another one of our tours, we had a couple. They were standing just about where you folks are at the back there, listening to the story, when all of a sudden, the woman flew back, hit the wall, and fell to the ground. When the chaos that followed, everybody was ushered outside. And once they were all safe, they finally asked this woman what had happened. She said that she had just been standing there, holding her partner's hand, when she felt a cold rush split them apart and knock her back into the wall. She said whatever had pushed her did not want them or our tours anywhere inside this building. And on that note, you're going to get a chance to explore it. The staircase is just over here and to your left-hand side. You can look up it. The minister's office is just the room that we passed when you walk through the front door. The kitchen behind me has a rocking chair that has been known to move on its own from time to time. My only request is do not drop anything on the other side of those half doors. I don't have a key for them, so you will lose that item.
Why are there like random oils everywhere? Like
No, that's not oil. It's like just like stuff that lights.
Them brooms are serious.
Like the ones in the other house was like kids, like
Yeah.
it's really hard to see when it comes like before it's done for the door, but
I was telling a couple folks over here, the china cabinet in the kitchen. Last night, in the middle of people exploring, it unlatched and opened right in front of a big group of people. So yeah, that was fun. If you want to take a look at it, it's just to the left-hand side of the kitchen there. And you can see the latch is not one that you can just like knock off. It's like a full twist to lock it.
It is known to be one of the most active buildings on this property. The with much of the activity happening on the second floor of the building. The ghost here is believed to be that of a woman mourning the loss of a child. Now, one Halloween night, one of our guides was bringing their group into this building, and they opened the door, lifted their lantern, and locked eyes with a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothing. She was sitting on a couch just in the room to the right. As she stared back at him, he was so terrified that he instantly looked away. He looked back to that couch. The woman had completely vanished.
Push so everybody can fit in and we can close the door.
Yeah, you will get a chance.
Great. So, welcome inside Berwick House.
Man, this is giving me hocus pocus vibes.
Make sure you get a chance to look upstairs.
Xavier. Oh, I know. Where is Xavier?
It's an ultimate baby.
Yeah, I'm looking on the bottom left. You want to come?
Where's all that heat coming from?
Look at that.